Welcome to The Explainer. So, what if you held the keys to your own mental and physical well-being? Today, we're diving into some pretty incredible ancient wisdom that sees every single one of us, not just as a person, but as a powerful inner alchemist, totally capable of transforming our own inner world. So let's just jump right in with a pretty radical idea. For thousands of years, Buddhist practitioners have been exploring this concept that you, yes you, are your own master chemist. It's this core belief that we have the power to consciously change our own internal state, our very energy.
Okay, to really get this, first I want you to imagine your body as the most sophisticated drugstore in the entire world. Ancient traditions talked about an elixir of life that wasn't found in some fountain or magical potion, but right inside of us. And from this point of view, every single thought you have is like writing a prescription, telling your inner pharmacy exactly what chemicals to produce.
And you know, this ancient insight from the Buddha is now being backed up by modern science. He said that when you get angry, you're pretty much drinking your own poison. Well, it turns out he wasn't just being poetic, he was speaking literally.
Just think about how potent that poison really is. When we feel negative emotions like anger or stress, our bodies get flooded, and I mean flooded, with over 1,500 different biochemicals and stress hormones. Our mental state is directly creating our physical state. It's this powerful, tangible connection that shows just how high the stakes are when it comes to our mental habits.
And this brings us to a really fundamental choice, doesn't it? Are we going to be a victim of our environment, like a leaf in the wind, just reacting unconsciously to whatever happens? Or can we become the master of our own chemistry, responding consciously and learning how to create these inner states of harmony and balance for ourselves?
So if we can choose our response, does that mean we can actually change our automatic reactions over time? Well, that leads to an even more powerful idea, that we can fundamentally reprogram our own subconscious minds. The point is, we aren't stuck. We can actively rewire our entire internal world.
You've probably heard this phrase before, right? Nerve cells that fire together wire together. It's a really simple, elegant way to describe the principle that underpins how our brain learns and forms habits. Every single time we repeat a thought or an action, we're strengthening a specific neural pathway, basically paving a highway in our brain that makes it easier to travel that same road next time. What those ancient practitioners knew through direct experience, we now have a scientific name for: neuroplasticity. And there's a really famous example of this in practice: the Dalai Lama. Sources say that as a kid, he had a major anger problem, a really bad temper. But by consciously rehearsing kinder, wiser actions in his mind over and over again, he literally rewired his own brain to become the person we know today. So, the big question is, how does a person actually do this kind of rewiring? Well, for centuries, practitioners have used specific, dedicated systems for exactly this kind of radical inner transformation. And one of the most famous is a very structured path for taking control of your inner world known as the 6 yogas of Naropa. So these 6 yogas, they form this progressive path to mastering the mind. It all starts with tumo, which is the foundation. That's where you learn to generate an inner fire of compassion. This energy is then used to realize the illusory body, understanding our physical form as just subtle energy. And that leads to accessing the clear light, which is the mind's true nature. From there, the practices get even more advanced, extending that awareness into other states, like maintaining it while you're dreaming in dream yoga, navigating the after-death state in bardo yoga, and finally, mastering the transference of consciousness itself in phowa.
Now this brings us to some of the most striking and, let's be honest, often misunderstood symbolism in this whole tradition. It's imagery that can be really jarring if you don't have the proper psychological context.
So what is going on here? When we see these images, often called yabyum or father-mother, it's really important to know it's not about literal physical desire. It's a deep and powerful visual metaphor that points to a profound psychological state.
The meaning is purely symbolic. The male figure, the yab, represents compassion and bliss, and the female figure, the yum, represents wisdom and this deep understanding of emptiness. Their union isn't literal at all. It symbolizes the complete integration of these 2 essential qualities. It's the state where compassion and wisdom become totally inseparable.
This quote really gets to the heart of why the symbolism is so intense. The concept of total, inseparable union is so profound that, as the source says, a simple handshake wouldn't be symbolically up to the task. You need a powerful, visceral image to even begin to convey a state of being that's really beyond ordinary words.
So what's the ultimate goal of all this? Where does this path of inner alchemy, of rewiring our minds and integrating compassion and wisdom, where does it actually lead? Well, it all leads to accessing what is called the clear light.
The clear light is described as our most fundamental nature. It's the pure, blissful awareness that is always, always present. But it's usually buried under the constant chatter of our monkey mind. All the practices we've talked about are designed to do one thing, to quiet that noise so we can finally access this core level of our being, which is our true, calm, and radiant self.
And this is the ultimate potential that this entire path points to. It suggests that our true nature, that clear light mind, it's not separate from anything. It's a state of being completely and totally united with the universe. It's a mind that's beyond time and space, the very source of everything.
So, we end with this question. This entire tradition suggests that the most profound truths, the deepest states of peace, and the ultimate source of reality, they aren't somewhere out there. They're already present within our own consciousness. The only question left is, where will you choose to look?